Steel boots stomping, crashing the floor. Two wild Yinzers kicking through the door. Loud like a jag-off at a pins game fight. Brace yourself, this ride ain't polite. Dum-dum Yinzers, loud and proud. Heads in the clouds, voices in the crowd. Chaos brewing, they don't play nice. Hold on to your iron and grab your prime anti-slice. Tales from the burg with a hint of mayhem. Pierogi powered, nothing can constrain them. Knocking back stories like an icy cold brew. You never know what these two might spew. Dum-dum Yinzers, loud and proud. Heads in the clouds, voices in the crowd. Chaos brewing, they don't play nice. Hold on to your iron and grab your prime anti-slice. From the bug with a hint of mayhem. Pierogi powered, nothing can constrain them. Knocking back stories like an icy cold brew. You never know what these two might spew. Dum-dum Yinzers, loud and proud. Heads in the clouds, voices in the crowd. Chaos brewing, they don't play nice.
Yeah. Hey, Mike, are you having any issues, any connection issues?
I am not, no.
I'm like looking on other, if I look on my other screen and I tap into the show on Facebook, it keeps coming up unavailable. So the video unavailable. So I went to another source and I tried it there, and it also.
Oh, yeah. I just went over to YouTube and it's saying video unavailable.
Let's see, unavailable. Yeah, it's coming up on unavailable on the pad. It's coming up unavailable on.
Oh, let me see something here.
Oh, wait, it's going into a ad. All right, there we go.
There we go. I don't know what happened there. I do not know what happened there.
All right. Yeah, no, I looked up in my extra screen that I keep for messages was blank. So I came out and went back in, and it could said unavailable. I was like, well, let me check a second screen. So I went into it elsewhere, and it also said unavailable. So hopefully we got that fixed. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. We averted the disaster.
Yeah. Oh,
welcome to the show.
I was about to get fired from the show.
This is episode 763. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back.
Yes.
It's the weekend, brother. It's the weekend. Here we are, Friday. One thing I'm confused about now is today the first day of summer, or is it tomorrow? Because on the calendar, at least the one that I have, it says summer starts tomorrow. Tomorrow's the first day. But everybody seems to think that it's on the 20th, no matter what. And I don't know. Now I don't know. I'm questioning myself.
Me too. Now I am really, really confused. So I'm just going to roll with it.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's hot, so therefore it's summer to me.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going on with some of these connection issues. I'm nothing damning, but I'm certainly experiencing a few problems. But we'll make it. We'll make it. Today is Friday, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning to Corey Beavers on the board. Always great seeing my man Corey and Kenneth on the board. Nice and early, guys. Good morning. Corey says, good afternoon, guys. I missed the chat yesterday. Why do people think we dropped the ball with Alexander signing? Just because Baltimore got him. He's probably only like 6 or 7 games anyway.
I thought he was going to say 6 or 7 plays, and like that might be accurate too.
And I do want to say good morning to Kenneth on the board as well. Kenneth? Good morning, man. Good morning. We're just trying to comb through maybe a couple issues here, but I think we're okay. I mean, everything appears okay.
Looks good, yeah.
But I'm trying to look on different sources to see maybe if there might be other issues, but it looks like we might make it. Tortilla, what's up, my brother? He says Jalen Ramsey apparently followed the Steelers players like DK and Deshaun Elliott. Doesn't mean much, but it could be something. I mean, these are usually the signs that
things are happening
that you see when things do start happening. The guys either they'll follow people, they'll unfollow people, or they'll unfollow the team. But we'll get into all that real shortly, guys. Good morning. Welcome back to the show. This is episode 763. Everything seems to be on track now, Mike.
Everything does seem to be on track. I double check some things. Everything looks good.
I don't know what that was all about. A couple of things before we do get rolling, guys. I had a thought last night.
Uh-oh.
falling asleep is like a natural time machine. You enter sleep.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like no time at all goes by. You exit sleep, and you then are in the future. Right?
Yes, time traveling.
Time traveling. We have natural time travel. I just thought that was interesting. So I seen it online. Somebody had said that. And I thought that's an interesting concept. We do. We time. I mean, you know, you don't. And it seems like time goes like that.
Yeah.
You come back to, bam, there you are. You're in the future, whether it be 5 hours, 10 hours, some people days. But that's just the beginning. I got one other conspiracy theory thing for you guys today. And do you know? This is a do you know that for the rocket to make it all the way to the moon, Mike, if like they said it did back in 1969, if it was to make it all the way in the moon, do you realize how much fuel that would require? Well, if you don't, let me fill you in. Almost 5 million pounds of fuel. It breaks down the numbers. If you look online, it would have used approximately 4,578,000 pounds of fuel between the oxidizer, all the different things. Nonetheless, it's 5 million pounds of fuel. Where did that paper mache project that supposedly landed on the moon tote 5 million pounds of fuel? And if you're curious on what it would take to carry that, go online right now and type in where would 20,000 pounds of fuel fit? How much is it? If you're looking for the size of what 20,000 is, like it's one of them big tankers you see on the side of the road that have water in them or something. That is 20,000. That ship went to the moon and back, would have required 5 million pounds of fuel.
Gravitational pull.
Okay. 5 million pounds. And again, you've seen that thing. It's made out of aluminum foil and curtain rods and duct tape. I can see it maybe if it looked like it was a little bit more in healthy condition, but the panels at the top of that damn spaceship, like they're all warped and they have holes and supposed to be airtight. And again, it would have taken 5 million, just short of 5 million pounds of fuel to actually make the trip to the moon and back. Come on. This is like the adult version of Santa Claus. How do we still keep believing this?
Yeah.
There are prop rocks in the picture. When you look at pictures, Mike, one actually has a number on it, like CD2 or something like that. It's been there since back in the day. There's no way that these guys went 290,000 miles one way and toted 5 million pounds of fuel. Again, look at the container, if you will, and then I'm done. I'll move on.
Okay.
Look at the container of what it would take to house 20,000 pounds of fuel, if you will. Look at the size of the tanker that it would take and compare that to the 5 million that it would have took to get to the moon and back. So there you go, guys. Just some things to think about over the weekend. The thing about NASA and everything that went down, I don't think they expected us to have the technology that we have and we could look into things ourselves one day, like 60, 70 years in the future. And here we are. We have access now. We can figure shit out. 5 million pounds of fuel, guys.
I wish I had my X-Files soundbite ready to go.
You know what? I was going to tell you to put it on, but I didn't want to give it away. I didn't want to give the whole thing away today. And so there you go, guys. You have a built-in time machine, and it would have taken 5 million pounds of fuel to get to the moon back. So there you go. Do what you want with that. But I'm going to get back on the board where all my favorite people are. I'm going to go right back to here, right there. Tortilla, my man, he says, okay, we did get that one. Corey says Tortilla. Deshaun might advocate for him to sign here.
Yeah, because they played together down in Miami.
Technically, Tortilla says cars are time machines too, guys. Cars, yeah, they really are. You get into it, you get out, you're somewhere in the future, far, far away, perhaps. Let's see. Corey says 2 Yinzers cool, so him and Lamar can get right. IR together this year. Misery loves company. Tortilla says there's a 7-Eleven on the way to the moon.
Hell yeah. Get your big gulp on the way, boys.
Get your big gulp and your Teslas, probably. Corey Beaver says, but also, who do we cut if we sign Ramsey? We cut Trice, and where will he play with us having Slay? Does Slay have? Does he move to the slot, or does Ramsey move to the slot? Nobody's moving. Porter Jr. out. JPS will throw a fit. Yeah, right.
I think like Ramsey would play more of the slot. I think, or Slay would move in more of the slot. Excuse me. Jalen be on the outside. I think that's what was what I read. If that would happen, like one of those two guys, one of the two vets would play more of the slot.
Corey, where are we at? Okay. Tortilla says, I guess once you get going in space, you can just turn the engines off and glide. Especially with all the differences in the radiation and the lack of air and oxygen and Van Allen belts. And, I'm sure they had that all figured out as well and got all figured out on the first try with no issues. And everything went well in that shoebox that they flew to the moon in. Jen says, good morning to everybody. Good morning, Jen. Always great to see Jen on the board.
What up, Jen?
Tortilla also says Slay is like 35. It wouldn't hurt to have a rotation of good DBs, plus Ramsey can play slot, so can Slay. And then he follows that up by saying, we just put Kent on the practice squad or cut Pierre. Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't probably hurt to be able to rotate them guys out being a little bit older. Because, I mean, look, when we brought Patrick Peterson in, the guy was an all-pro 7 times. Everybody went on and on how he was one of the best 6 or 7 years ago. That once you're past your prime, and it is what it is. I mean, we expect these guys to play as they did in their prime with Slay and with these guys that are just getting older. It wouldn't be a good idea, but Mike, that's an expensive way to go about it. I mean, if you're gonna, of course we brought Peterson on cheap deals and things like this. It's not going to be cheap to pull this, and if that's the case, if we want to use a rotational system, which I think is a good system anyway, especially with older guys. It's not going to be that kind of throw a couple dollars, Mike. We have this now, and let's see where this is a commitment. You bring Jalen Ramsey in, you're paying some money depending on what Miami will eat, and so that's where I think this differs, right?
That would be the thing. Like you get Jalen Ramsey, you're penciling him in to be one of your top starters that year, and it's going to be a commitment because he signed for this year and I believe the next 2, and they're pretty hefty cap hits too. But like I said, next year. Going into the cap next year, the Steelers have a shit ton of money next year that they have to use. So if you get Ramsey, he'd use a part of it. TJ Watt's new contract would be a part of it. So you're getting into cap compliance. So yeah, it's commitment with Jalen Ramsey. That's why I think you might be able to. Miami might be able to stick the screws to whoever's trying to trade for him because he's signed for an extended period of time, not like some of these guys that have been traded. They're only 2 years, but like the key guy in this secondary this year will be Corey Trice because he's an outside corner, and if he can stay healthy, him and Slay can rotate in and out if they don't get a Jalen Ramsey, or if Corey Trice can stay healthy and take a jump, he could move Slay into a slot inside corner position. Then you have him and Eccles playing on the inside with Beanie Bishop as well, and Eccles can also play outside too. So like a lot of it.
It's an expensive experiment.
Because if you get him, then like you said, like who are you cutting from this group? Yeah, because they all have their role to play, and James Pierre is really good on special teams as well. So do they bring him here just for that, or what? It's a lot of moving pieces in that secondary.
Absolutely. And you know what? It's a good problem to have. I like to have all these problems on our secondary right now. It's a lot better than the problems that you could have. But Mike, I mean, as you mentioned, the players on yesterday's show, the list truly goes on and on and on and on when you start talking about DBs, your safeties, your corners, everybody back in the defensive backfield. And you got to like that problem that we have. But again, it seems to me like Jalen Ramsey's going to be an expensive experiment if that's the case. If we're going to want to bring him in and put him at slot maybe, or rotate, or whatever the case may be, you better really be committed to that plan, because at the end of the day, Mike, you're going to be paying this gentleman a lot of money to come play football here. And if that's the case, and it is what it is, I'm all aboard. Bring him in and let's do this. And again, the more players we keep adding, the more I'm getting confident with this team moving forward. Again, just today's the 20th of June, and then the 31st of July, Mike, we're going to see the very first preseason game. And of course, this time next month, give or take a couple days, the guys will be showing up in the Trobe. So at the end of the day, Mike, we're close. Whatever it is that's going to happen, it's going to happen soon. It's not going to be this drawn out period of waiting months and months and months and months and months to hear something, as we have with players over the past year and a half, 2 years. Brandon Ayuk, Aaron Rodgers, the whole thing. So it's going to formulate. It's going to come together if it's going to come together. But at the end of the day, as I said, Mike, there's a lot of money that's tied up in a guy like Jalen Ramsey. But at the end of the day, if you use him right, it's probably the reward is probably going to work in your favor. But again, you bring in a stud like this, let's say you're paying him now. Just think of what the Minkah Fitzpatrick situation turned into. We loved him. We paid him a bunch of money. It worked out. The trade worked out with Miami. He came here, and then after he loses that edge, now you're paying out all this money.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot of thought process that goes into this. It's, we like to think of it almost as like a fantasy football. We just pick who we like. But at the end of the day, you have to figure out where a lot of dollars are going to move and a lot of dollars are going to go. And again, with the Jalen Ramsey, I'm all for it. I want him here. Again, it's not my money.
It's not mine. Yeah. And he is older too. He's also older. He's 31. But, he still played at a high level last year. But how long can he keep going? And same thing with Slay. How long can it keep going? Because some guys can play well into their mid-30s. But some guys, they hit that wall. It all depends on the athlete. But if you're willing to take that gamble, you can go ahead and do it. The only thing that worries me about is like his dead cap space. If you get him this year and he doesn't play well and you want to cut him next year, that's almost $19 million in dead cap space we would have to eat. So if you get him, really, you would get him for this year, next year, and the year after, because he's signed through 2028. And that last year, he would only be like a $5 million dead cap hit. So you would have to hope you can get 3 years.
He's going to be 3 years older as well. So you're probably not going to,
at that point, at 34 years old, you would cut him.
This is a big decision. It really is, and I can understand why they're for lack of a better term, dragging their feet, because again, this is something that could turn into a disaster a year from now. We could be sitting here saying, "Oh, you got to get Tallman out here," right? Or Omar Khan, what's up with these decisions? So we again, that's a big move. That's a big move.
That's why, if they are thinking about it, I want them to take their time on it, because, like you said, that's a big commitment. That's a huge chunk of change. Like the cap money this year is not that bad, but like next year, 25 million, then 26 million, then 36 million are the cap hits if you keep him. And even the dead money the next few years is a lot of dead money. So it's a lot to go over. If you think you're just a Jalen Ramsey away on defense, making this an even better defense than what we have, okay, do you go do it? But you have faith that offense will take that jump as well. A lot of things to consider in here. That's why, as Mike Tomlin says, that's why they're well compensated to make these decisions.
Well, yeah, that's what they say. But today is going to be a defensive back conversation day, guys. I got a little bit to talk about here as far as our defensive backfield. So I'm glad that the guys started on this path, Mike, with Jalen Ramsey. Let's get caught up on the board before we do move along. Corey Beaver says tortilla, but if their nature is to cover ones and twos, wouldn't it trigger Ramsey's ego to cover threes and tight ends? I don't see either of those essentially getting demoted in their eyes to cover lesser guys.
I think I think they'd welcome it, because they just lock those guys up all day, every day.
RB, Trice was working in the slot at minicamp. I like Trice. I'm not willing to give up on him yet. I think that the guy has mad talent. I think that he sat out his rookie year due to injury. He got, and you've seen improvement in the guy. I've seen him get a nice interception in the end zone, some plays, and he has a nice build. If he could develop, Mike, of course, being a 6th-round guy, what did we come up with the conclusion to on that was why? Because he was kind of an injury-prone player.
Yeah, that's why he fell.
And so that's what we're dealing with. The guy has talent. Corey Trice is a nice size, rangy DB corner, just like Joey Porter Jr. is. But Mike, it seems that his as we mentioned, the stock on him fell certainly because of those injury issues in college.
And 6'3", man, 6'3", 206. That is what the Steelers love to see in their outside corners. And he can run too. He can move. You saw him he did pretty well against Jamar Chase, thrown out to the Wolves against there. Jamar Chase best receiver in the league, and he did all right against them, even though Jamar got the better of him. But you can see, man, with a little more time, a little more development, he would be able to run lockstep with him.
Tortilla says we're building our team with 11 DBs and 11 tight ends. That's true. I haven't really heard anything outside of those two positions either. Corey says Tortilla 11-11. LOL, magical number must mean Super Bowl. I'll take it. We'll take it. Tortilla says, Corey, you can move Slay and Ramsey around, plus a lot of wide receiver ones play in the slot, so it benefits us to have options. The thing about it, it's a big commitment. Corey, Jalen Ramsey, it's a big commitment. If he comes and it works, it's going to be great. But if he comes and it doesn't, or I hope it happens. I'd like to see Jalen in the black and gold next year.
Yeah, you know what? Screw that shows me that they're trying to win.
Right.
Like going all in.
RB says, I love everyone who's upset about tight ends being rostered. Our division keeps getting smaller and smaller on defense. So instead of trying to outquick somebody, you beat them up with size. He follows it up by saying football always goes in a circle. Power football will make a return to combat speed. Now, you're right. You do see the pendulum swing back and forth in the NFL. Corey says, RB, that's a good point. But I think that having 99 tight ends and no true wide receiver, too, is comically concerning because if DK goes down, Calvin Austin can't step into wide receiver one. And I don't see Mount Washington with the deep ball. That's a good point. You always got to consider injuries, especially in the NFL. It's, an injury is always one play away for anybody. And that was my concern last year. I mean, if George Pickens went down, you're kind of in a shitty situation. But if you have two nice receivers, that the surrounding cast of receivers don't look so bad all of a sudden. But if you're depending on that surrounding cast of wide receivers, I mean, there's a reason they're not ones and twos in the league. Mike, but again, there's the Roman Wilson factor. How much are they going to seriously consider another wide receiver? Because again, we haven't had a look at Roman Wilson. And let's say he could come out and be kind of productive or have a really good season. I mean, a lot lies on that.
Yeah, he is the unknown in that equation. What are we going to get out of him? And looking, the limited film that you see from OTAs and minicamp, I like what I'm seeing from him. His route running, he looks so quick and smooth in and out of breaks and cuts. Like, all right, cool. If he can utilize that on the outside, and Calvin Austin was looking sharper in his route running as well. Okay, I like that. Two guys that can run crisp routes on the outside. I don't care what corner you are, you're going to have trouble with that because your technique has to be sound all day long. You can't slip up. So I like that. Would I be comfortable if DK goes down and those are my top two guys? No, but there's ways you can make it work. It won't be pretty, but I think you can make it work.
Maybe having a competent quarterback could kind of neutralize that, and
the X factor right there, the quarterback.
But again, I don't want to be in that position to where I'm going to need my quarterback to make plays, play in, play out with these receivers that are sub 1 and 2 guys. So again, it's all right. Let's move on. We'll get back into it. Tortilla says most teams we probably wouldn't need three solid DBs, but against the Bengals, Dolphins, maybe Vikings, we might want an arsenal of DBs. And again, you're going to head into the playoffs and you're going to see a lot of passing. And maybe Buffalo, if you get into the playoffs, they're going to pass. Kansas City's going to pass. Baltimore's going to pass. So at the end of the day, when you start getting to those games that matter, the ones that we haven't been so successful in the past 15 years or so, that's when it's going to come down to it. I mean, getting through the Vikings and the Dolphins and teams like this, that's one thing. But at the end of the day, if we plan on winning any playoff games, we have to somehow stop them teams from scoring 40 plus points. We have to. Mm-hmm. Let's see. Corey says, Tortilla, remember the year when the Browns moved guys around in the secondary pre-snap to keep Brady from reading the defense? Why don't we do that with our DBs all the time? Better than Tampa too. It's difficult. It's the thing about it is that's a lot of work.
Yeah, and if it was like good and easy, like you'd see, it's a
everybody would do
league.
it.
It's a copycat league,
right?
Like I get like if every team thought they can do it and it was going to work all the time, you would see a lot more teams doing it. Yeah. And that's why you don't see like the Steelers or anyone else really doing it. I like the idea of it. But the coaches, man, especially defense, they want their defense set.
There's things that are lazy in the league, and I think this is it. I don't think that teams are going to put the effort into game planning like that week in, week out. It becomes tedious. And
because
again,
then everything's become so specialized in the secondary. Your outside corners are usually getting taller and taller, and your slot guys are getting shorter and quicker and twitchier.
I like the idea. Don't get me wrong. I like the game plan. I think it's brilliant. But I just sport. Sometimes things are a little lazy in pro sports, and I think that kind of falls. Can they do it? I do think they can do it, but like I said, it's going to take a lot, and it's rare to see teams go away from their norm to go to a game plan like this. I would love it though. Is Galbraith healthy, Mike? Hey, I do want to say good morning to Mark Malone on the board. Mark Malone, always great to see you on this Friday afternoon. Mike says he is healthy. Mark follows that up by saying, we only have Fry Daddy in Washington at tight end, unless you count Connor. Didn't we have somebody else too?
We had Farnham until he got injured.
Oh, yeah. RB says, no, I agree with you. I agree with the injury part, but you need a young guy. You can't pay 2 wide receivers $25 million per in a outside zone run scheme. Tortilla says, Corey, I'm not sure we're capable to do this, to do that on paper. Hopefully this year the coach has got a good game plan. Corey says, I agree, but you got to be ready to go all in if you claim to do so. If you need a wide receiver too, and you didn't make the smart moves before letting GP walk, then you got to take the swing. You got to pay for quality. You're right. Tortilla, the DC of the Chiefs, had some cool concepts. I haven't really locked into them anymore. Then I've seen them on TV. Their defense really carried them this year. You know what? That Chiefs defense really is underrated, Mike. You think of the Chiefs
very much so underrated.
What do you think of? You think of Patrick Mahomes, you think of Travis Kelce, but that defense, that wins them a lot of football games. And you got to remember, this team didn't score more than 30 points till the very end of the season. I think it was either
I think it was like against us they started.
So I mean, and it went back. It was like a season and a half that the Chiefs didn't score more than 30 or 31 points. So that defense is they don't get enough credit. Believe me, the Kansas City Chiefs defense, way underrated.
Yeah, they were sixth for points scored. They only allowed 20.5 points per game, and once you get into their other stuff on defense too, they were really good defense all around, and very underrated.
Corey says we can't use that defense in every game, but against guys like Mahomes, that seems like and that's the problem. It's such a specialty defense, and to throw it, to stop what you're doing and go with something like this, it's a lot of work. And it's you get these guys trained and day in day out they're looking at their plays, and to do something like this, it's a playoff move. In my opinion, this is something you would do in the playoffs. It's going to take a whole overthrow of what it is that you do on the norm, and that So again, I would love to see something like that. It's a little extra, and teams don't do that because again, it's real tedious. And for a big game, a one-time thing, as you said with the Browns with Tom Brady, it's brilliant. But to be able to do something like this consistently, that's a big move, man. Mike, but the Pittsburgh Steelers. Let's get into this. The big the comment that I've heard over the past day that I want to talk about, Darius Slay. Mike, Darius Slay, we're talking about DBs today. The brand new the used car, I guess. Darius Slay, he vows, Mike, we're going to fix JPJ's interception numbers. We're going to catch the Rock this year. I love this. I love the mindset.
Yeah.
I don't know if JPJ he doesn't get a lot of interceptions. I would like to see those numbers go up, Mike. But I think having this veteran come in, this guy that was just on a Super Bowl winning football team with that mindset could go a long way with this group of DBs.
Yeah, and he even said that when he came here. He's like, I'm here to win, but I'm also here to, he's like, I want to train up these younger guys that we got here, particularly Joey Porter Jr. And he's all in on trying to win and knowing that, hey, my time is coming to an end here. So, carve out a legacy in here and train up the next crop of guys. I like it because, like Porter, he can run with guys. He can, physical receiver jam guys, go to work on keeping the hands in tight. But like you said, he has that Ike Taylor syndrome. When the ball gets in his hand, clang. I think he had like one interception in college. one or two, and he was locking guys up in college too. So it's not like he's out of position. He just can't catch, and we've seen this before where you drop a pass on second down as a corner, and next thing you know, third down they get a first down or a touchdown. You're like, dude, if you would have caught the ball, that changes the momentum of the game. So yeah, he needs to work on that pass catching, and hopefully Slay can give him some tips, or we can get him some stickum on those gloves.
Well, I mean, the old adage, what is a D?
Yep.
What is a
failed
cornerback?
receiver?
It's a receiver that can't catch the ball. So
Yeah.
it is what it is, and especially with Joey Porter Jr. in this situation, of course, it doesn't apply to everybody.
Yeah,
but, it certainly applies here, Mike. With
I think he was a receiver in high school, and they switched him to corner.
Oh, I'm sure he probably played both. He was in North Allegheny. He might have played both sides of the ball.
Yeah.
But yeah. So that's what it is, Mike. Where do you feel the? I mean, and also guys like Beanie Bishop and some of these other players, Mike, that's also in the mix. He had a really good rookie season coming in as an undrafted free agent. So, like I said, I particularly like this group of defensive backs that we have with the safeties, with the corners. I'm happy with that. And again, at the end of the day, if you could somehow get this luxury of a Jalen Ramsey on your team, I think it just makes it that much better, Mike. And now it also the secondary is going to look better as well, because again, the defense is going to be hopefully a little bit more rested, Mike. Again, the additions on offense go a long way for this defense. They're not forced to try to win every game, as the offense is going to be sputtering 3 and out. We don't know for sure that's how it's going to go, but at least in theory, that's a few different ways that I think we're going to get better results from our defense. And of course, the additions on offense go a long way. The additions at the defensive back position, our linebacker core is strong. And then you bring in a stud like Derek Harmon on the line as a starter at this point. I expect things to be better this year, Mike. And again, heading into the Aaron Rodgers situation, there was a lot of questions. But now, as I said, you have somewhat of a capable quarterback. Let's just say he doesn't come out and get the same numbers he got last year, which were amazing. The guys mentioned earlier, they were better than Josh Allen, some of the numbers. They were better than Patrick Mahomes down the list of these guys. These great current quarterbacks in the league, Mike. So I'm starting to get a little bit more optimistic every day. I really am. And we're just a little over a month out. A little over a month, Mike. A month and 3 days from camp, buddy.
I can't wait. And think about the secondary, too, is like new defensive backs coach Gerald Alexander. Like looking at his numbers from when he was coaching down in Miami in 2021, their defense was one of the best against the pass. They had like the seventh best against the pass, first in interceptions, turned Xavier Howard into the league leader in interceptions. So he's going to be a key addition. He's been on the team before. He's back again as DB coach. Hopefully that new voice will help the secondary as well. So I'm looking forward to that defense, especially that secondary, to take a big jump, because you got talent back there. Porter, he was taken in the second round, but he was a first round talent, and he needs to take a big jump, get the penalties under control, and next thing you know, you're going to be talking about him as one of the top 10 corners in the league.
I think you're going to talk about him. You know what? He is so much like Ike, it's not funny.
Right?
I think he's going to be Ike. I think he is Ike reincarnate.
Yeah.
Because, again, here he is.
Similar size.
Basically the same build, the same freaking jersey number.
Mm-hmm.
He is a shutdown corner. He truly is. He could have came out higher in the draft if he had hands. I mean, the guy, let's face it, he's like Taylor 2.0.
Yeah, I think Ike's a little bit faster, but I think he might have better technique. But you see him; he runs stride for stride with these guys. And he's some of the grades they have is like he's passes targeted to him. He hasn't given up a touchdown.
I'm more confident with him this year, Mike. And you want to know why? Because he got those seasons under his belt now. At first, you knew the talent was there, but it was like, all right, let's see what JPJ can do. And when he got burnt, or if something happened or whatever, you were like, oh, okay. I want to see what he could do now. What is this, year 3?
Year 3.
This is where I'm going to start feeling comfortable with him. If I start to see that consistent coverage week in, week out, where he's able to shut down number ones. And as I said, Mike, this is kind of the year you want to see those other him pick up his play in those other ways. Let me say this. Let me say he finishes with 3 interceptions. I'm going to be happy in season 3 with him having the seasons he's been having.
Yeah.
But add 3. Again, it just feels like Ike. And if that's what it's going to be, that's fine. And you would draft in the future accordingly. Maybe you go after a guy with special hands or something for the other side. But at the end of the day, I mean, this is a good season to really get a feel for what it is JPJ brings. I think it's going to be good. Again, if he doesn't get 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 interceptions a season, that might just be what it is. That doesn't mean he's not good. That just might mean that he is your lockdown, like Ike Taylor was.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? Get somebody from the other side that got some hands. And again, Ike. There's not much you could say about him besides I would have liked to see more pick sixes.
Yeah,
that certainly hit his nubs that are on the end of his wrist.
Yeah.
But come on, I would be happy with Ike Taylor career out of JPJ.
Me too, because like people who know football know Ike Taylor is vastly underrated because it was just the interceptions. He was locking down the same guys that Revis Island was.
Yeah,
and if he had half the interceptions that Darrell Revis had, he would be considered a Hall of Fame cornerback. That's how good Ike was. He was shutting down Ocho Cinco and Hooch Manzada and T.O. He was a beast, and Porter he's trending that way as well. And like the penalties, I think all but like 3 or 4 of his penalties happened in 2 games. It was both against the Bengals. They just, both games the Bengals receivers ate up our secondary, which, there's a reason why Higgins and Jamar Chase are the highest paid duo in the league. Those guys are awesome, and you got Joe Burrow. So I think that might be his toughest opponents. It's just those 2 games against Cincinnati. But
Mike,
we have an offense that can bully their defense. So I'm okay with
as far as Cincinnati goes. I got to be honest with you. You're not going to see. It isn't like there's people that are out there. There's teams that are out there that are doing much better than what we did against those 2 particular receivers.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. If it was a problem for us, but it wasn't a problem for the rest of the league, then I would think we have an issue. But we play the Cincinnati receivers just as well as everybody else. They're going to go out. They're going to get their numbers. They have the best, arguably the best wide receiver in the league, and T. Higgins is no slouch. So at the end of the day, Mike, if everybody else was not having issues, but we're consistent with the rest of the board here. Everybody, this is how they are there. It's a really good passing game for offense. And the thing is, Joe Burrow, you got a Joe Burrow throwing the guys the ball. Yeah. So, we played consistent with what good teams played against the Cincinnati Bengals. I mean, obviously they're going to be good. They have a nice passing game, a strong passing game. We have to figure out how to beat that. It's certainly being in the division with these guys, playing them twice a year.
Yeah.
But we're not far off, Mike, because again, at the end of the day, if we were getting burnt for 500 yards passing, where the rest of the league was holding these 2 guys, week in, week out, that's a concern. I think as far as what we got going on, we're going to be okay with Cincinnati. You're never going to stop them. You're not going to stop these
you just got to contain them. You got
to contain them enough to hopefully get your offense enough time to do their thing and take advantage and win those games. But I'm content again with this group of DBs, this DB room, safeties, and corners. I'm as content as I can be, I guess. Jalen Ramsey it will be a luxury for me.
Oh God, yeah.
And I'll do cartwheels naked the whole way down. Carson, but I'm satisfied with what's going on in the secondary this year.
Me too. I think we'll be fine. It's definitely against like the Bengals because their defense is a weak link, and I think our offense is much more superior to the Bengals defense. And I think the Bengals offense and our defense matches up better, especially because our front 7 can cause pressure. And if they can get the consistent pressure this year, that can neutralize Jamar Chase and T. Higgins because Burrow won't have the time to throw. And that right there, if you can get pressure on them, okay, you can weaken those too and allow your DBs and give them a little bit of cover. And I think that's what happened last year. Especially in the last game, we weren't really getting the pressure on Burrows.
Let's jump on the board, Mike.
Yeah.
Tortilla. I'm going to go all the way back here. Right where Tortilla says it takes a lot of trust and communication, as we've seen at the end of the year. We could barely run cover 2 zone without screwing it up. Players were confused. No way we could run. And I agree with that. It would be very difficult. There's a lot that would go into it. And I just don't know if the coaches want to veer away from what they do on the regular to do something like that on a short term. Tortilla does to Ike Taylor. He says he got a bigger forehead than Joey Porter. There's no doubt about that.
Oh, Sheila's like Taylor.
Mark Malone, he runs stride for stride when he's hanging on their jerseys. All right, hey.
Hey, man. He only got, 2 games they really targeted him for that.
And you know what? If it didn't happen around the league, it would be a different story, If it was just an exclusive Joey Porter Jr. problem. But it talked to me mid-season. Maybe I'll change my tune. Let's see. Tortilla says his dad taught him how to draw a flag. Hey. Mark Malone, Ike was freaking nimble for a tall guy. Most of these tall CBs don't have that change of direction like Ike did. Ike was special. Again, he'll never get the recognition, Mike, because again, he had those lack of hands. But at the end of the day, he was something, man. He would have
I never saw Mel Blount play. So Rod Woodson and Ike Taylor are my top 2 favorite corners of all time in Steelers history, with Chad Scott a distant third.
Chad Scott, interesting, out of Colorado. Corey says, I don't mind having a corner nobody talks about. Sure, he's not getting turnovers, I'm sorry, but nobody is scoring on him or drawing. That's right. I mean, that's Ike Taylor. That's what Ike did, and again, he had a very successful career. Not a decorated, but at the end of the day, if you want a solid guy who gets it done week to week, that's what you're getting out of this guy.
They are drawing penalties on Porter, especially the Bengals. The Bengals got a lot of calls against Peasy Jr. over there.
RB says defensive back is not the issue skill-wise. It's scheme. You're right. Everyone knows it's man or cover 2 over the first half and cover 3 second half. I agree. RB. Corey says, so as long as Joey Porter Jr. cleans up the penalties and keeps covering this guy, I'm good with that. I want Minka getting interceptions. He gets paid handsomely to do so. I think this, Mike, should be a big season for Minka Fitzpatrick just because he's been so subpar the past few seasons. I think he comes early and gets 2-3 interceptions in the first 5 games. Just something, like this. We're going to change our tune. We're going to say, you know what, this guy's playing. He's back. That's what I think we need out of Minka Fitzpatrick. Mike, again, all that money that he's absorbing, he got to be a bigger part of that defense. And here's the thing. Let's say he's doing good and the team's losing. That wasn't the case. The team was doing okay, and he wasn't excelling. So, you want to see him improve his game and make a splash play or 2. It won't hurt to make a splash play or 2. That's what the guy came in on. I'd like to see just a little bit more of it, as his career here goes.
He has to do something.
Yeah. And you wonder, it makes you wonder what, is it schemes? Is it just, it seemed like early on, Mike, he had a lot more leeway to kind of do what it was Minka does, where now it doesn't feel like it. Almost feels like they want him as a certain part on the defense, which I get. But if you have a guy that special and you're paying him that kind of money, I want more out of him.
I want a whole hell of a lot more out of him. He's been average to below average.
Yeah. Tortilla, the Bengals would be scary if they didn't have Mark Malone and Corey Beavers on defense.
It might be an upgrade of what they have right now.
Yeah. We can take everybody on the board. Myself, Mike, we'll all go to Cincinnati. This might be a better defense than the Bengals have with the group of guys we have here. I would go to war with the guys on this board right now. I got to be honest with you.
Hey, let's not pay our best defensive player anything. I love it.
Nobody's drawing penalties on him at Corey. Mark Malone says, I can still run at Tortilla. Yeah, Mark, we can do it, man. Corey says, Mark, I'm saying if he doesn't get stupid penalties, the pass interference and cover his guy, I'm good. And that's the thing. Mike, I really like to see, again, the secondary, it's intriguing to me. There's a lot of moving parts here, as you said. And, again, Dante Jackson moves out, Slay moves in, and even all the way down to the safety, Mike, a lot of people still are not talking about Juan Thornhill, who could certainly step in and have play a big part, Mike.
And the refs have the eye out on Porter. They know that, he likes to get handsy. And they look at him harder than a lot of corners in the league. And so he won't get the benefit of the doubt if there's 50-50 hand fighting. And I know they all off season they've been working with him on how to limit his hand fighting and hand usage.
Well, he's got, Joey Porter's got to stick with the dark gloves anyway. whatever.
Have the jerseys match.
Have the jerseys match. Right, exactly.
The gloves, like Julian Edelman said, like he'd always get shit from Belichick by having red gloves,
right?
Because he would block and the refs would see
Absolutely.
them. And
you can't play a team with a dark jersey with white gloves.
If they have a white jersey, you wear white gloves.
The fact that it's even happening, it's blowing my mind. I mean, guys in the NFL should certainly be, even if it doesn't cross the player's mind, guys in the, in the locker room might say, hey, dude, you know what? You might not get as many calls if you go same color, or at least dark, light,
Yeah, fucking red gloves over here.
Yeah. Let's go with right here. All right. My man, Yinzer Joe. What's up, brother? He says Bengals aren't stopping anyone either. Once they get if they had a decent defense, I mean, they're putting way too much money in their big three, but if they could start to develop some kind of a defense, man, that would be a pretty good team over there. I hate to say it, but I mean, the offense is so damn good. These guys could put up 40 points any given week. They really can.
That Bengals offense is scary, but you don't have a defense. Your offense cannot have a possession where they don't put points on the board.
Right. Mark Malone says I was like, what? Corey Beavers, Tortilla, Willie Gay might be my favorite. His pick six celebration with Joey Porter is forever one of the best things I've ever seen. Willie was tough, man.
Big play, Willie Gay.
I like Willie. Mark Malone says the Gay Cock Burns trio was something. Yeah,
they have an ointment for that, Mark. They have an ointment for that.
And then, of course, I keep forgetting we have Brandon Eccles as well.
Yeah, he's the forgotten guy in that cornerback room too.
That's what I'm saying. We made a lot of DB pickups this offseason, and then also the re-signing of Deshaun. Deshaun Elliott, I think, could certainly have a really big season. He's so comparable to Ryan Clark. I love having him on the team. I'm glad we got him for a couple years. I think it was a deal. What you're going to be able to get out of a guy like Deshaun Elliott, the way he's able to come up and play in the box, the way he's able to stuff the run, and then also the way he's able to step back and play in the secondary. I love him opposite Minka. And again, if those two, if he comes out like it's a contract season, and Minka plays his game better than he has, I think we got a pretty damn strong safety room.
Yeah, this safety room is going to be awesome. The secondary has potential to be awesome as well. I'm looking for this defense to be a top 5 defense, not a top 10 defense.
It might be, Mike.
I'll be back in a second, guys. I apologize.
Yeah, you're good. And again, I don't think a top 5 is out of the question because, again, we had it was a good defense. We got 3 pretty good high paid players that some other teams would certainly love to have on our team as far as Cam and TJ and Minka go. But now with these additions, now with the offense that should be able to stay on the field longer, those might be the differences that we need. I think this defense could certainly be top 5. I'm going to say top 10, but they're in the right third of the league as far as defenses go. And again, this rookie's going to want to come out and have a good season. These linebackers with these wheels that they got. I mean, come on, Peyton Wilson and Nick Herbig. These kids got wheels on them. Plus the guys that are already in the positions like Patrick Queen, Highsmith, and TJ. Liking the defense, guys. Today has been a pretty heavily defensive themed show, but that's kind of the vibe today. Again. Darius Slay vows we're going to fix Joey Porter Jr.'s interception numbers. We're going to catch the rock this year, quote unquote, is what he says. I want to see it. We've been lacking the turnover last year, not this past season, but last season. What did they say? None of our was it the linebackers? Maybe somebody didn't cause any turnovers all year. So those kind of things, obviously, they got a little bit better, but liking the defense, guys, liking the defense. You can't go through a season where your linebackers don't cause any kind of disruption. But now, as I said, as you're filling in those other positions and things start getting better, Harmon hopefully will be a big upgrade over Ogunjobi. That's huge. He's going to be getting his ass in the backfield where, again, Mike Ogunjobi didn't. He wasn't as productive the past year or two, where you're going to get this young guy, which is exactly what we said that we need. You get with Cam, for example, you have this great player who's older, but you bring in a guy that's younger that wants to prove himself on the defense, like a Derek Harmon. Mike, you're going to get production out of this kid. Philadelphia showed you exactly how that goes. when the kid from Georgia, what's his name, Mike, that I like?
Jalen Carter.
Jalen Carter came. I mean, yeah, you could have kept the older guys who were successful, but you bring in these young cats, they come in and they make plays, man. So I'm feeling good, Mike. I'm feeling good about this defense this year.
Yeah, I like it too. And with Harmon too, and if he can come out and play and cause and be a disruptive force and then force double teams, okay, that's going to start shifting blocking over to him. Can that free Cam up for a one-on-one? Will that free up TJ Watt for more one-on-ones? Will that free, Highsmith for more one-on-ones and stuff like that?
Yeah.
So that D-line play, if those Harmon and Cam can both apply pressure, force either one of them to get double teams, and that frees up a bunch of people else, or God forbid, both of them have to be double teamed. Then okay, now your linebackers can fly around more and do more. Then when we go into our base set, even though you get all three guys out there, Keanu Benton out there, if he can get one-on-one just against the center and finish plays, that's what the big thing on him. Can he finish plays? He's getting pressures, but can he get that sack? Can he make that the play in the backfield against the running back? So we talk about on offense, that O-line. On defense, it's going to be that D-line, and that's why you see them been addressing both positions in the past couple drafts, is to build from the inside out on both offense and defense. And you get that interior pressure. Guess what? That makes your secondary look a whole hell of a lot better, because you could have a great secondary, but if they have to cover receivers for 4 or 5, seconds at a time, they're going to lose more often than not.
And Mike, how often did you see? Can you recall, or anybody on the board? How often can you recall Larry Ogunjobi in the backfield disrupting anything?
Once, twice, maybe.
I mean, come on.
Yeah,
this is what you're replacing. So again, that's why I always say we love the older guys, but at the end of the day, it's when it's time to move on, it's time to move on. And I think you're going to get a lot more results out of the new kid, Derek Harmon, over Larry Ogunjobi. Mike, I'm very excited about this defense. And again, now giving them the opportunity to just play defense and not have to carry and try to win every game with the offensive additions we have. Very excited about what the defense got.
I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. And if that front can stay healthy, man, I just want this team to stay healthy, because all the talent that they have, especially on that defense side of the ball, the front seven, for the Mike, there's a lot of talent there.
I think the hole's right in the middle of the defensive line, though. That's my problem. That nose tackle position needs to have a really good season, Mike.
Yeah, like whether it be you put Benton there, I know they say Harmon's going to be the outside, but sometimes maybe you move him in through the interior occasionally. Why Black, Ukale, that he's another forgotten.
I want to see all these guys. I'm
excited. I want to see what those guys can do in the middle. What can Benton make that jump? I'd like to see sometimes put Harmon in the middle, Benton on the outside, along with Cam on the outside. As a front three, rotate that and give the offensive line a different look here and there. I want to see what that can do. But yeah, there's potential for some big play disruption that we haven't seen since we had prime Hargrave to it in Hayward.
All right, Hayward, jump back on the board. We got Tortilla Jackson says, Yinzer Joe, they couldn't afford a corn dog, let alone an edge rusher. Talking about Cincinnati, right?
Yeah.
Let's see. Corey says, we don't need Jalen Ramsey right now. I think we should see what we have and pay TJ after they reconstructure some contracts and then go from there. Nobody else should get paid before TJ unless it's a wide receiver too. You know what? There's a lot of Pittsburgh people that would agree. I mean,
yeah, but he'll get his money regardless. You still got to build the team. You can't.
You still got to work.
Right. Yeah. If he wants to drag his feet, you still have to build the team around them. You know
what? If the Steelers can pull out a successful season, I'm talking about better than what we've been doing. You got to be excited because that they're making moves, Mike. Again, this is not a team. These are not actions that would have been on this team 5 years ago and before. They're making a lot of offseason moves. They're hitting the free agency like they never did before.
Yeah.
So let's see how this plays out. Let's it's the way the league is now, Mike. It's hard to build a team the way that the Steelers did in the 70s. It's almost impossible to get the same results that you did. So I'm kind of curious to see how this continues to play out with the new GM, with just the things, Mike, that we're doing now that we've never done before as an organization.
Yeah, and his his first draft class is coming into year 3. I want to see what Broderick Jones can do in year 3. Same thing with what Keanu Benton and all. I want to see what those guys can do in year 3. Joey Porter Jr. year 3. I want to see what they can do. And it's going to tell you if this draft class was a good draft class or not because we're hitting year 3. Man, I like the way the team they're getting more modern with building the team. You can't just go all on homegrown talent anymore. You have to explore trades and free agencies. And don't forget, we may have been disappointed these last 2 years. They still made the playoffs 2 years in a row. Like they're trending on the right path. They're making the playoffs. Now it's okay. You're getting there consistently. Now you got to win. Now you got to win. This is we got to win one.
Is it the case
two.
of just it's this team's time to take that next step?
Take that next step, yeah. Because we treaded water, made the playoffs. Now you got to win one. You got to win two. You got to win what you can, or you win one. Even if you lose that next round, don't make it be a laugher like it has been in the past, getting reamed for 40 yards up the ass or 40 points up the ass. You got to go out there, win that first round, get into the second round, and be fucking competitive and show that, yeah, we are on the right path. We are right there with the elites.
All right, let's see what the board says, Mike. Yinzer Joe says, I think the Steelers were hoping KZ would free up Minka, but that wasn't happening. KC was a big hitter, but he didn't help the corners or Minka.
Yep.
Hey, you're right. He lacked. No two ways about it. He was a hitter, though. He was a hammer. I could see him just coming in and putting his body on the line, which I loved. But again, you're right. There was certainly areas that he lacked.
Yeah, he wasn't that stay-at-home guy either.
Tortilla says paying TJ would free up a few more bucks to spend on a wide receiver too, or an extra DB if we need it. I do feel like the Steelers are high on Eccles, which is a great thing. I love the idea that we did add Eccles and Thornhill, Mike. I think these are two nice pickups for our secondary that people were forgetting about, and they will remember soon after the season starts. Mark Malone, we're contending this year, man. I'm telling you, I'm starting to believe you. Call me crazy, but I'm starting to believe you, Mark. I mean, now that it's not the conversation that Mason Rudolph's going to throw for 10,000 yards and 50 touchdowns. I mean, now I'm starting to buy into it. Yinzer Joe says, like Mike said, the key would be that the offense and defense stays healthy. If one player goes down somewhere, I think they're screwed. We're due for a season without the injury.
Right? We are. Like the only spot you can potentially lose someone like inside backer, but it can't be Patrick Queen or Peyton Wilson or Malik Harrison. It could be your boy Cole Holcomb. I think we would be fine.
I'm telling you, week 3, he's down for the season. Tortilla says KZ still plays like it's 2010. So is Mike Tomlin. Yeah. Guys, let's move along a little bit. We've been into the defensive backfield for quite some time, Mike. This here is what our starting cornerback's dad had said when he was asked to name three people to describe what a Pittsburgh Steeler looks like. Joey Porter Sr. or from his era. He gave me 3 Steelers, Mike, that he says is what being a Pittsburgh Steeler looks like from his team. Mike, he said Troy Polamalu.
Yeah, obviously.
Jerome Bettis and Hines Ward. He says, when I think of Joey Porter Sr. says, when I think of what a Pittsburgh Steeler is over my tenure, Jerome Bettis, Troy Polamalu, Hines Ward. I think Harrison could have been in there. I think Big Ben Roethlisberger could have been in there. But Mike, these 3, come on, that's not a bad.
It's not a bad, and there's a lot of good guys on that team that you can pick too. Porter could have been in that list.
Right.
Ryan Clark, Casey Hampton, Diesel, Alan Faneca. So you can't go wrong with that list. Just point and you can land a finger on any guy. But yeah, those 3, hell yeah. You ask random people like random football fans who kind of know the Steelers, and those would be probably like 3 of the names, 3 out of the 10 names that would be listed easily.
Mark Malone, he says 4,235 was the mark that he did put up for Mason. However, he gives us Aaron Rodgers' mark. He says 4,540 touchdowns. You know what? If that happens, I'll be thrilled, man. A Steeler nation will be thrilled. My God, if we get a quarterback that goes 4,540,
Yeah.
especially what we've just gone through. I mean, come on, we're going to be in paradise as far as
Well,
fans.
he had, we'll call it 3,900 yards. He was
Right.
3 yards short, and 28 passing touchdowns last year. So the yardage, yeah. You figure 500 more yards. Okay, that can happen. But the 12 more touchdowns, I don't know.
Yinzers, I don't disagree with this at all. He says depth has to be added before we start the season. We can't lose starters and have no backup. But you're right. That's why I think these moves that they're doing now, Mike, where they're kind of trying to fill in the holes. Because you have a nice secondary, but I tell you what, Jalen Ramsey will certainly make this a lot better secondary just by adding that one guy. I'm sorry, excuse me. And then same thing on the offense. I think the wide receiver too is something they got to seriously be considering. And I think they are. I think they are seriously considering those two positions. But the depth, Mike, depth goes such a long way, especially even if we don't have an injury bug season, but you come across bumps during the season, it's always good to be able to plug, and just keep going.
Yeah. The only other spot, like on the offense, I would like to see a veteran depth signing is maybe tackle. I know they're filtering guys through there, but I don't know. I just think one more tackle that has some sort of pedigree would be awesome. But that's hard to find. Every team wants to have a couple more tackles. Our backup tackles are Dylan Cook and Calvin Anderson. I think Anderson came over from the Patriots. I think
we lost depth this year. No two ways about it. Corey says, I wonder if it's guaranteed money that TJ is hung up on, and the Steelers don't want to give up too much because of this past injury to his pec. That's why Bell left. Not enough guaranteed money.
That would surprise me if it is going to be the guaranteed money.
Yeah.
And I don't blame him to try and get what he can, and I don't blame the Steelers for trying to not give all that they can due to injury concerns and the age. I'd hate to be in those negotiating rooms because you want them back. You just don't want to,
Corey says, whenever I hear someone say hit stick, I think of RC layout on Rice when he was almost killed him. He almost killed himself for the tackle.
He did that on every tackle on himself. You'd see him get up worse than the other guy.
Yinzer Joe says, if Rodgers does, if he does do that, Mark Malone, I want him back next season. And you know what? It's a possibility. I read that this week. I'm like, it may not be his last year.
One and done. Yeah.
If things go well, I could certainly see him coming back next year, which again, it's going to bring a lot of question, Mike, in next year's offseason with the draft being here, what we're going to do in the future beyond that. Because again, Mike, when we were sitting there in those last couple years of Ben, we could have certainly been handling the quarterback future a little bit better. Yeah. Maybe this time around we'll be able to do that because we're going to recognize it. We're going to say, look, 2 seasons from now, we're not going to have this Hall of Famer anymore. But again, Howard on the sideline, Mike, a draft coming to Pittsburgh next year. Yep. So it's going to get interesting at the quarterback position as it usually is here in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, because if he does have a phenomenal year, they go into the playoffs, they perform well. He plays well in the playoffs. He's not the reason why they're bad. He's not struggling. That other guys on the team aren't carrying him. He's uplifting the guys on offense. Then you go, okay, do you want to come back here? What kind of contract are you looking for? Make it work. And that does not preclude you from getting a first-round quarterback. It does not preclude you from making a move to get up in there because hey, we only really have him for one more year. Whereas Ben, we thought he would keep going.
We thought we were going to have Ben forever.
We thought, hey, after that elbow injury, he should be fine coming back. We'll build around him. We'll go out and get a Najee Harris and a Pat Fryer.
Mike, it seemed to me like they felt like they didn't want to hurt Ben's feelings in a sense.
Exactly.
And I don't think they're going to have that issue with Aaron Rodgers. He's not a lifer. He's not a one.
He's not a legacy guy. Yeah.
He's not a one helmet. I mean, he's a one helmet guy. And they didn't want to hurt his feelings in a sense, which you kind of get this. And I think it could be different this time because of what it is that Aaron Rodgers is opposed to what Big Ben was.
Yeah. And, it's, like you said, he has no ties to the organization. Even if he does well, they want to bring him back the following year. It's, it's not going to hurt his feeling if they draft his replacement. Green Bay did it, and he worked fine with Jordan Love. And he's already working well with
Mark Malone says, I'm huffing paint right now, my dudes. I see 40 touchdowns. I like it. The more he huffs, the better our season gets.
I'm going to send cases of paint to
I
you.
know. We're gonna send pallets of paint. Ralph, what's up, my man? He says, hello, guys. Always great seeing Ralph Williams on the board. John also, man. Great seeing you on this Friday. John says, I will admit I'm wrong about Rodgers. Let's see if others will as well. I mean, I wouldn't. I wouldn't throw in my cards just yet. We still have a season to play, but I am certainly feeling a lot more optimistic than I was about Aaron Rodgers as time goes on. Again, I knew once something fell into place. We just had no idea what was going on at the quarterback position. That makes it difficult to try to just get a feel what you got going on. We know we got now. So again, we'll hold off on that, John, and I'm there with you. But there's still a season to play before we can make that call. Mark Malone, that elbow would have ended most people's career, not even 10 years prior to that. You're right. All right, guys, let's move on. Mike, the Steelers cut running back Jonathan Ward yesterday, who I kept forgetting was on this team.
Me
Mike,
too.
we have Jalen Warren. We have Caleb Johnson. We have Kenneth Gainwell. We still even have Cordell Patterson. I'm sorry, Mike.
Yeah.
So
And Trey Sermon.
So I mean, if you got a little concerned when you see we did cut somebody yesterday, it was about time we had more running backs than we had tight ends. It seemed like, Mike. Yeah. But no surprise to anybody.
No, and there's still people like Evan Hall, Max Hurleman on the roster as well. Like, who are these guys? So it's that time of the year, trimming the fat.
Let's see what else we got here, guys. We got this. Oh, interesting, Mike. AB. I don't know what the hell's going on with him. He was on the run, then he wasn't on the run, then he was on the run, then he makes a tweet about who was it? Caleb Williams.
Oh yeah. I forgot about the Caleb Williams.
So this is the latest. AB. Cam Hayward is Magic's son. Is the latest tweet. Cam Hayward is is he not being pursued by the law? What's going on?
I have no idea what's going on with AB.
I mean, the guy's on the run and he's making tweets about Cam Hayward.
So they can't track him down.
Let me continue, Mike. Before AB, this was AB's his later tweets. He said Cam Hayward is Magic's son. This is what he said. Okay, with a question mark, whatever that means. I don't know, but this is what Cam Hayward responded. He says, in quote, good thing you can't spell, because he spelled Hayward wrong. He spelled it with an A. And he followed that up by saying, let me know when you're back in the States. So what the hell is going on with AB? What is it that I don't know?
And how does Cam know where AB is?
Right. FBI is going to be knocking on Cam's door. I don't get it, but it's just funny. It seems to me that this happens every once in a while with Cam Hayward. Some people always tend to spell it with an A. I remember him replying to this through somebody else before. But again, AB with another crazy tweet, guys. He says, Cam Hayward is Magic's son? Question mark. Again, don't know quite what that means. But I expect nothing less from from Antonio Brown.
Yeah, I guess Magic Johnson has like a son who's transgendered woman now, and it looks like Cam Hayward.
I seen it. Yes.
I was going to say more like Casey Hampton in drag.
You know what, Mike? I saw. Is that what that's about?
Yeah,
because that's fucking hilarious if it is.
Yeah, that's what it was. And then Cam was like, good thing you can't spell. See you when you're back in the States, which raises a whole other question.
Right?
Is he looking to hang out with him, or is he looking to kick his ass? And I want to know what's going on here.
You know what?
There's
Mike,
more layers to this.
I forgot all about that damn that child of Magic. He's a big transvestite, like a big guy, like he looks like Cam.
Yeah,
that is funny.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like. Well, I was like, only AB would say that, and then Cam good, making fun of his spelling, which is great.
Pointing out people's that's hilarious.
Mistakes. And then
I didn't think Mike. I didn't even notice he looked like Cam Hayward until you just said that. Now I'm thinking about it. He looks just like that guy.
Yeah, it was like I
Do me a favor, pull that picture up. Can you pull a picture up of Magic Johnson's son?
I'll just go to AB's Twitter. This up here.
I don't know if you're going to see a picture of the sun.
Oh no, he had the picture and capped and everything.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. Just give me a second here.
All right, let me get a couple of these comments in. Oh, we're going to go right here. Mark Malone, you guys ever get any polygamy porter? It's a two-time Yinzers. Corey says paint huffing, poor man's euthanasia. I think that's how you spell it. I think it is. Ayahuasca. Oh, that's what what's her face is into, right?
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers.
That's right. Yeah, maybe. Mark Malone says, I believe AB is just running from pool to pool, stroking off people. And that's what I'm.
It could be.
What's he doing? I mean, he was wanted on attempted murder last week.
I'm pretty soon he's going to end up in Israel and Iran. Just hanging out with the Ayatollah, next day hanging out with Netanyahu. He's like the international man of mystery.
Who was it that was hanging out with Kim Jong-un? Wasn't there somebody that was doing that? It was
Rodman.
That is Rodman. I can see Antonio Brown being that kind of guy, being over there hanging out with the Ayatollah and then making decisions for Netanyahu. That's just kind of seems how that could play off. John says AB is a pimple. Well, here we go. Hold on, guys. Okay. Take a look at the screen. The person in the right there, that's Magic Johnson's son.
That's Cam Hayward.
Now, Matt, and then the tweet, Antonio Brown, he said Cam Hayward is Magic's son.
Only AB. Only AB.
Oh, I love it. Dude, come on.
AB is out of control. And
how hilarious. Oh, man. John says AB is a pimple on the NFL's ass. It should offer him CTE and psych screening and pay for it. The twisted drama is a bad look for the sport. Mark says I could see AB dual welding AKs.
He'd be out there
wielding, I guess.
He'd be out there like Yosemite Sam.
I can't get over this picture, Mike. I'm looking at my side screen where I'm on a delay, and I'm looking at that picture right now. I'm just blown away. When the hell was this person born anyway? If Magic Johnson got AIDS in 1990.
That just proves like money cures all diseases.
Because this guy isn't 40 years old, whatever the hell would be. Come on, if he was, he got AIDS in 1991, which means that if this was a product before that, he would be a lot older, I would think. But bizarre, very bizarre, nonetheless, guys. Corey says they're going to find AB on remote island being worshipped by villagers, King Himothy, because he's him and all that.
Ever going into their worship services, you have to toe tap along the sideline before you can get in.
Right. Mike, I came across this roster the other day, just this morning. I'm sorry. We were talking about the teams for the classic softball all-star game.
Yeah.
I think the teams are complete. You want me to give you a quick rundown of what the teams look like, team offense and team defense?
Let's see who's hanging out with Cam Hayward.
Okay, so here we go. This, Mike, is for the Three Rivers Celebrity Softball game at Washington Wild Things Baseball Park later this summer, Mike. This is what your team offense looks like. Again, there's a roster both ways. Whether they continue to add any people, I don't know. We will keep up on it. But this is your offensive team, Mike, for the Three Rivers Celebrity Softball game here in Pittsburgh. Will Howard, of course, right at the top of the list. Doc Hodges and Rutger McGrody. Those are the three that we mentioned yesterday, the latest additions to the team. Jesse James, Mike, caught that ball. He is also on team offense. Larry Nance Jr. Kendall Vertez. I don't know who this Kendall Vertez is.
Never heard of.
Doran Dickerson. There's a name that you do recognize.
Doran Dickerson, man.
He's
Pitt,
on team
Buffalo.
offense. Connor Hayward is on team offense on the team.
I would say it would be a bit weird if Connor Hayward was not invited.
And then there is, I think it'll be hilarious. I think it'd be hilarious if Cam wasn't invited, but Connor was. Matt Light from here in Pittsburgh, Joey Molinaro, and finally Christian Kuntz. I got to admit, there's not as many big names as we have seen in this game.
Yeah.
But let's go to the defensive side of the ball to see if that changes, Mike. On the defensive side of the ball, former Pittsburgh Steeler on a short term, Patrick Peterson. Patrick Peterson is on team defense for this Celebrity All-Star game here in Pittsburgh. Jack Sawyer, our new defensive player from Ohio State. Mm-hmm. Patrick Queen, Mike. Patrick Queen is on team defense. James Harrison.
There we go, baby.
Is on team defense. Joe Hayden is on team defense. Alex Highsmith, team defense. Richard Sherman.
No shit.
Don't know how this played out.
I forgot about that.
Richard Sherman on the team. Cam Hayward on team defense. Now I'm going to go through the less popular names, Mike, on the defensive side here. Cole Manis, whoever this is. Erica Christensen, Steph DeLaunder, and finally, Mike, from the band In Sync, Chris Kirkpatrick rounds out the roster. Chris Kirkpatrick.
The Eminem song, that's the only reason I know his name.
Chris Kirkpatrick, you could get your ass kicked worse than them little Limp Bizkit bastards, is the line Mike's talking about, of course. But yes, that rounds out the team defense. So there you go. Again, Mike, a lot more recognizable names on team defense than the offense.
A lot more.
Once we get closer, we'll get predictions. But I think I'm going to be with team defense here early on.
Yeah, me too. I like how Pat Pete was here for a year and still comes back for stuff.
Right.
Joe Hayden spent the vast majority of his.
When they were talking about the players that got selected on the 25-year team, the quarter century team, he was actually listed as a Steeler. There was
Joe Hayden.
No, Pat Pete.
Pat Pete, they listed him as a Steeler. That's wild.
Well, it officially listed the two. It listed Troy and Alan Faneca, but then in the same sense, it had him as a Steeler. He was he was on that team as well. So it was officially two Steelers and Pat Pete. But so Pat Pete's very involved in Pittsburgh still, Mike.
I like it. You see that for the Steelers and the Penguins too. The guys that even if they're here for a year or two, and they stay around. They keep coming back. It's the way, Yinzer fans, man, we love our Steelers and we love our Penguin players.
I'm just looking back at Corey's one of Corey's posts here, man. I loved watching Ryan Clark, man.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I like Deshaun Elliott. I see so much of him in Ryan Clark.
I like when he was asked who's going to win in the hole, you or Derrick Henry. He's like me, 100% of the time. Right. And everyone's trying to clown him. And he was like, I can tell y'all never watched me play.
Yeah, I love Ryan Clark, man.
He would die to make a tackle. And that guy lived for whatever team he played for. He's like, you're not getting a first down. You're not catching this ball. He probably killed Wes Welker 5 times in the NFL.
Absolutely, man. We do got to move along here a little bit, Mike. The Penn, Ohio game, the 46th installment of the Penn, Ohio game was yesterday. Kenneth, that's a great question. How did Pat Pete? But Pat Pete was a big name early on, though. When people were talking about top corners, 15 years ago, Pat Pete was in there, man. His name was certainly mentioned a lot. Maybe from that, guys. But Penn, Ohio, the high school all-star game that they do play every June, which is a crazy time to be watching and listening and following football. I love it. It's what we do. But Mike, they kicked off in the summer months. Team Ohio beats Team Pennsylvania 30-7 in the game. Pennsylvania now leads the overall series 26-20. It's getting a little closer as Ohio won the last 2 of this series, Mike.
Who won that game? Oh, sorry, I was looking up Pat Peterson real quick.
Ohio 30-7. Big win, Mike. And then they did Pittsburgh Post-Gazette landed the fan voted most top. What am I trying to say? The top list of players from the fabulous 22 teams from here in Pennsylvania. So I just give you the top 5. I'm not going to go through all of them. Yeah. Pittsburgh Post-Gazette's fans voted the fabulous 22's top 10 list. I'm going to give you the top 5. Mike, number one from right here across the river, Ty Law. Always a huge name, Hall of Famer, Super Bowl champion, of course, out of Aliquippa. His also from Aliquippa, Darrelle Revis, Mike, number 2. Number 2, who's also a Hall of Famer and a Super Bowl winner. Mike, 1 and 2, Ty Law, Darrelle Revis, both from Aliquippa. Mike, number 3, again, this was fans voted in the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette on the top 10 fabulous 22 players. Again, the Ohio Penn game yesterday. LeVar Arrington out of North Hills was number 3.
Terror in college.
Bill Frelick, number 4, a little bit older of a player, but people that know. If you know, you know. And number 5 on this list, Mike, of the fans voted top fabulous 22 team. Number 5, Aaron Donald.
Not a bad player as well.
And names after that are Terrell Pryor, Curtis Martin, Tyler Boyd, names like this. So
Just a who's who of NFL players from here and from what
and that
Western
isn't
PA and Eastern Ohio.
and a lot of them isn't even the great names that you think about, which are
Yeah,
Dan Marinos and your Joe Montanas. I mean, these are
yeah, like
you know
Jim
these are
Kelly.
really yeah. I mean, these are all great players, but I mean, there's an even higher tier to some degree, I would say. And then of course, goes all the way down thugh guys like Paul Puzzlesny and all these
Oh, yeah,
names from right
another great,
here.
damn good player. And it's funny though too, like the two guys you look that were voted 1 and 2, both from Aliquippa, both in the Hall of Fame. Like, it's Hall of Fame high school.
Both were
Aliquippa.
number
They sent
24. Both
yeah,
played cornerback.
and both sending that school, man. If you guys aren't from this area, that school is crazy. The amount of guys that they have sent to the Hall of Fame and to the NFL in general for such a small school.
More Hall of Famers than any other high school in the land.
Mm-hmm.
Little small Aliquippa.
More than some colleges too.
Yeah. And if you would have had Tony Dorsett, who was from the same town, it was just
it
a
should
different.
count it.
Yeah, come on. He went to Hopewell, which is where Paul Puzzlesny was from.
Yep.
And Russell Shell.
Yep.
But they come on. Same zip code. Let's see, Mike. Let's move on. What else we got? NFL. Mike, these guys want to. I'll come back to that. I want to talk about Shedeur Sanders real quick.
Yeah.
Is he really turning into a Cleveland Browns quarterback or what?
Perfect, baby.
I mean, come on. If this guy doesn't fit the bill, nobody does. This was
Right?
this was a match made in shit heaven with Shedeur Sanders and the Cleveland Browns. Like, what is this? Two tickets this month. He failed to show up in court for to take care of his tickets. This is great.
Yeah.
This is the best.
He fits in.
For.
He fits into the Johnny Manziel and early what's his name down there in Tampa now. Baker Mayfield. Yeah, he's fitting right in with them. I liking it. It was a merit, like you said, it's a match made in heaven. It was perfect.
Also around the NFL, Mike's some name Cooper DeJean. Cooper DeJean is the best slot cornerback in the NFL. I mean, of course, I think it's going to take a little bit more time to make that call. But, Mike, just another player that we looked at in draft time and said, man, I would love to have him.
Him and Quinion Mitchell both go to the Eagles 1-2.
Or Jalen Carter. Everybody on that Eagles defense, one time, like, we said that we would love to draft.
Yeah. And, like, realistically, I think we had a chance at Quinion Mitchell, but we went with Fatano, rebuild the O-line. And, like, you get why we didn't get those guys. We needed other stuff too, but if we would have been able to get them, that would have been awesome. But yeah, Cooper DeJean, he had a nice little season last year, man. We got a guy. We got one. Team White. We got one cornerback.
Right.
We ain't got no outside corners, but we got a slot corner, baby.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't look for too many white outside corners. I don't know if they exist.
I know.
Let's go to Corey. Corey says, I want to see AB go to the Browns just so Kenny Pickett can overthrow him on every play and watch AB crash out on him. KP would have PTSD by week 5.
You got him and Deontay. You would have him and Deontay.
You got Deontay.
Or KP would be like just sitting in the corner.
This is going to be – I can't wait to watch this disaster. They think things are getting better up there in Cleveland. I disagree. Mm-hmm. John said this is the time of the year for open-ended podcast questions like will Smith allow Rodgers to run the offense or subjected lists with names initially left off to stimulate discussions. NFL 365.
First, I've read that as Will Smith, like the actor / rapper. I was like,
what
does Fresh Prince have to do with this?
I'm looking up at the top of my second page. That's actually one of my notes. Aaron Smith, I'm sorry. Is he going to bang heads with Aaron Rodgers? That's a good question. It depends. What's it depend on, Michael? What's it going to depend on for those two not to butt heads? Because last year it's coming out that him and Wilson was butting heads, and he wasn't letting Wilson change plays at the line or call his own plays. Where does that change, Mike, with Aaron Rodgers this year?
The trust between the two of them, being comfortable between the two of them, willing to set aside ego for the betterment of the team. Can all three of those things happen? So far, so good. They're all saying the right things. Yeah. And, I think, they've overlapped or they've had people, they know similar people. And, so I think we're not going to have that issue. And I think Aaron has more left in the tank than Russ did. And I think Aaron can run the offense that Arthur Smith wants to run. So that trust and comfortability right there is going to be be huge. And yeah, well, we'll see. We'll see if they butt heads or not.
John says a minimum of 3 police reports per year are all part of the Browns quarterback. It sure seems that
He's
way.
getting the quota. He's getting his quota in early.
Mike, they have more. You know that famous T-shirt shot they have with all their quarterbacks listed on the back. They have. It's like the Stanley Cup. You know how they have to add rings every so often.
Pretty soon they're gonna have to take off
just from this team. Mike, from this team alone, they have more quarterbacks than most teams have. Come on,
it's great. It's comical. I love it.
Best. It's gonna be the best.
Now there's talk like, oh, they're gonna trade Dylan Gabriel, who they got with like the 3rd or 4th round. They're gonna trade him for a 3rd round pick or a 2nd round pick. Like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
It's great, man. Like that. People were making fun of the Steelers before we got Aaron Rodgers. Like that Browns quarterback room was terrible.
Mike, one more question, and we do got to move on from the NFL. I'm seeing online that some people are voting that the most improved team in the NFL in this upcoming season is going to be the New England Patriots. The New England Patriots. How well do you think New England's going to play this year in a soft division? Obviously, besides the Bills, they get the Jets, they get the Dolphins. Is New England finally starting to work their way up from this whole rebuilding process?
I think so. Drake May, he played a whole hell of a lot better than I thought he would. It's going to come to, it's for them too. It's going to be kind of like the Steelers, that O-line and their wide receivers.
Yeah.
Stephon Diggs, like what kind of mindset's he going to be in? He flamed out of Buffalo when you're on the cups of contending for a Super Bowl, was hurt all of last year, is doing cocaine on a boat full of hot women, which I'm not hating. I'm just saying you might have been at OTAs. But yeah, I don't know. I like their defense. I like players they have on their defense. It's just that O-line and Drake May. How far can he take that team? And I thought he was overrated coming out of NC, but last year he looked like he might be a legit top quarterback in the league.
Yeah, I mean, and that organization, that's an organization that you'd expect a quarterback like him to kind of develop, gradually. And I think that's what you're going to see in the NFL with the Drake May, Mike. I've always thought that he had pretty good talent. Let's move on, Mike. John says okay. Okay, Corey says, John, make no mistake, the media will generate drama to keep people in work. Yinzer Joe, does Watson win his job back, or is he going to get another charge against him? Who knows? What the hell? That's what I'm saying. This quarterback situation in Cleveland's great. I can't wait to see how this thing plays out.
I think isn't he out for the year? Because he ruptured his Achilles last year, right?
I don't know. Will be back. He should be back by. I don't know. It's hard to say. I don't know. John says the Wilson issue came out after he left. Rodgers will announce his grievances on Pat McAfee's show. You can bet on that. Yeah, that's
every Monday or Tuesday.
Jen says if the season goes bad or Rodgers gets sacked, he will be bitching and fighting with that. That's how long can Aaron Rodgers continue this? I'm such a great guy. I'm going to get along with everybody here in Pittsburgh. I'm here for the team. How long is that going to last? If we can make it through a 17-game season, through 18 weeks, I'll be thrilled. But Mike, from what we know about the man, is at any point is his ego become a serious issue for this team?
I'm predicting we're going to go 17 weeks of drama-free Aaron Rodgers.
And we need it. We're due. With the injury bug and with drama, Mike, if we can have one season without those two issues, I bet you had a pretty good year.
Yeah, because he wants to rehabilitate his image, go out on his terms. The last 2 years in New York, that last year in Green Bay didn't go ideally for him. So now I think he's just trying to change the narrative of him. And he's going to be the perfect little citizen, the perfect little soldier, if you will, here.
All right, Mike, let's move on. It is, unfortunately, it's getting close to wrap-up time for the week. I'm going to jump into a couple other things we got going on in Pittsburgh here, of course, this weekend. The other football we got going on, the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. They are going to be hosting the Tampa Bay Rowdies this week. Tomorrow, Mike, 7 o'clock p.m., you can get down to Highmark Stadium and watch the Pittsburgh Riverhounds host the Tampa Bay Rowdies. That again tomorrow, Mike, at 7 o'clock.
Let's go, Hounds.
The Pittsburgh Riveters, the women, the counterpart to the the Riverhounds, they are on the road tomorrow, Mike. They're in Buffalo. The Riveters having a pretty good inaugural season. They'll be playing at Buffalo tomorrow at 6 o'clock p.m.
They're what, 3-0-1 or 3-1-0, something like that. They were playing some really good soccer.
Looking good. And then finally, Mike, the Pittsburgh Pirates, they get their doubleheader in yesterday in Detroit. It was still a lot of rain, but they did get it in. They lose the first game 9-2. They split the day with a win, Mike, getting in the later game 8-4 in the game that Paul Skeens pitched. Skeens goes 6 innings, gives up 3 hits, 2 earned runs, an uncharacteristic 5 walks, has 9 strikeouts.
Yeah.
While getting his 9 strikeouts, Mike, he goes over 100 strikeouts on the season so far. Andrew McCutchen goes yard, of course, passing Roberto Clemente and getting a little bit closer to Joe DiMaggio's hit record. And Jack Wilson, who was filling in, I believe, because Brian Reynolds is on paternity leave. Jack Wilson comes in and hits a home run, Mike, and helps the Pirates win 8-4 as they wrap up the series against Detroit. They come back home to host the Texas Rangers today. Pirates are 30-46. Mike Burrows will be facing off against Jacob deGrom today at 6:40, game 1 of 3. If you follow them throughout the weekend, Saturday, Mitch Keller will get the start, and on Sunday, it will be a Bailey Falter start. Mike, the Pirates currently sitting 16 games out of first place.
Hey, it's not over yet. It's not over yet. They have a chance to maybe get to 500.
That's why they play them all, right? That's why they play 162.
Why they play 162. And Paul Skeens has allowed a total of 21 earned runs in his last 16 starts this season, 4 wins.
Yeah, it's insane. It's insane what's going on with this team.
Get the F out of here.
Corey says Aaron Rodgers will keep it up as long as wide receivers don't run the wrong routes or drop passes. His perfect passes. John says it will be hard because the media will make up shit if absolutely. This is the one that I'm banking on. How long is it going to take for our media right here in Pittsburgh to turn things ugly? That's the question. I agree, John. And then finally, guys, okay, you know what? I also got Caitlin Clark, Mike, the Indiana Fever. They lose last night, 88-77.
Yeah.
Caitlin Clark scores 11 points, has 7 rebounds, 9 assists. They'll be facing the Aces in their next game on the road Sunday at 3 p.m. And then their counterpart, Mike, the NBA. Big game last night. The Indiana Pacers tied the series with a 108-91 win in Game 6 of the NBA Finals, which ties the series 3 games apiece. Mike, it goes back to to OKC.
Yeah.
For Game 7. It's as exciting as it gets in pro sports with the Game 7, Mike. Next game is Sunday, 8 o'clock p.m., Game 7, Pacers at Thunder. It all comes down to this. Caleb, his team, Indiana, Mike, he's pulling for him. I'm pulling for Indiana. McConnell's on this team. Indiana pulls it back. They pull back into it. They're going to Game 7 of the NBA Finals.
Wasn't something like OKC went 14 minutes without making a shot or some shit like that?
I think
they were down 30 going into the fourth quarter. They were it was a terrible shooting night for that team. I did not see that coming at all.
So that is Sunday, guys, 8 o'clock p.m. The NBA season will be over the next time we all see one another on Monday morning. NBA Finals are going to wrap up Sunday night Game 7. Mike, why don't you go and tell everybody about the website? We'll get into some trivia, a few other things I do have here, and we'll wrap things up for the week, brother.
The2dumbyinzers.com. Check it out, everyone. You know it's over there with the merch store. We got all of our social media links. Got the dumb thoughts over there at the2dumbyinzers.com.
Go check it out, everybody. www.the2dumbyinzers.com. That's www.the2dumbyinzers.com. All right, Mike, it's no surprise today is going to be a defensive back question. The theme of the show early and often was our secondary here in Pittsburgh. Mike, put on your thinking caps. Everybody on the board, everybody at home. Here is your question of the day to wrap up the week. Mike, who has more interceptions all time as a Steeler? Troy Polamalu or Rod Woodson as a Steeler? The question is, who has more interceptions all time as a Steeler? Troy Polamalu or Rod Woodson? Take a minute to think that over, guys. We're live 5 days a week right here, Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, every day right here on YouTube. Question of the day. Who has more interceptions all time as a Steeler? Troy Polamalu or Rod Woodson? Any thoughts on this?
I know Rod is high up there on the interception list, but he did play for the Ravens, and I forget who else he played for.
The Raiders, the Ravens.
Yeah,
there was a handful of teams.
Yeah. You know what? I'm going to go out on a limb and say Rod Woodson.
All right, Rod Woodson. Is this your final answer?
The final answer.
All right, Mike's saying Rod Woodson had more interceptions in the time that he was in Pittsburgh than Troy Polamalu had while he played in Pittsburgh. Let's see. Corey Beaver says, I'm certain it's Troy. I remember at least 10 Troy interceptions right offhand. Corey is saying Troy. Mike is saying Rod. Again, question of the day, one more time, everybody. Who has more interceptions all time as a Pittsburgh Steeler? Troy Polamalu or Rod Woodson? Hey, Vegas, always great seeing you, man. You have a great weekend as well. Mike says Rod Woodson. All right, guys, ready? Here is the answer. Who has the most interceptions? Yinzer Joe saying probably Rod. Maybe I'll give it another minute here. Let see if anybody else does want to put their response up. Who has more interceptions all time as a Steeler? Troy, Rod. Mike says Rod. Yinzer Joe says Rod. Corey says Troy. The answer, of course, guys, by 6 interceptions, Rod Woodson does have more interceptions than Troy Polamalu as a Steeler.
Wow.
38 total, 71
in
his career. So it was I probably would have chose Troy Polamalu, because then you start putting the time into thought. How long did Rod play versus Troy's whole career? Did Troy get a lot of interceptions for a safety compared to? So I mean, all those thoughts start to go through your head. I would have picked Troy, but by 6, 38 to 32 in Pittsburgh, Mike, Rod Woodson did is the answer to that question. And yep, there it is, 38 to 32. Yes, Vegas. 71 career interceptions for Rod Woodson.
Overall. That is insane.
It really is.
That is 71. Dude was a beast. He is underrated too. As everyone wants to bypass him in Mel Blount when they talk about cornerbacks. It's all Dion, Darrelle Revis, Ty Law, anyone but Rod Woodson. Dude was a beast. He could play the run and the pass.
Love the Rod. Gotta love the Rod. Corey says, yeah, but 10 of Rod's were erased because he left for a rival, so I dog him. I win. I accept that. I accept
Dude,
that.
he had a lot of interceptions as a Raven.
Damn straight. Damn, he was a special player, man. Mike, we are going to start getting ready to wrap things up for today. A couple of things that I do have here on my notes. Did you see this in Fayette County? Remember back in the day when people would put, you'd watch like these older shows and they would put files inside of a cake and they would give it to somebody in jail. In the Fayette County jail here in Pittsburgh, somebody tried to shoot an arrow with drugs in it into a Fayette County jail window, failed to do so. It hit the building or whatever the hell it hit, dropped straight down. They found an arrow with drugs wrapped around or however the hell was connected to this arrow. Is that a better idea than putting the file in the cake, Mike? I don't know.
I don't know, but you know what? I like it. We're going back in time. Most people are trying to use drones. These cats are going, fuck it. We are using bow and arrows. Like we are back, the English fighting the French during the War of the Roses.
Yinzer Joe said Rod Woodson was a track and field guy and a corner. He was a beast, man. I was young when he was here, but all the way up to my senior year of high school, he was on that Super Bowl team. 96, January 28th, 1996.
71 interceptions. That's third all time. The supposed greatest corner of all time, Deion Sanders. Where is he? All the way down, tied for 24th with 53.
Oh, 53 is still a lot.
Dick LeBeau tied for 10th, 62 all time. Not in the Hall of Fame as a player.
My other thing, Mike, before we do take off is, hold on real quick. Someone will smuggle an iPhone in their ass for AB so he could make his faggot of the month video.
Well, if he's smuggling it in his ass, wouldn't he win the award?
I don't know. Wow.
Ah.
AB, where is he? Where is he anyway?
He's like Carmen San. Where in the world is Carmen San
Really-
Diego?
Carmen San Diego. Mike, my thing is this. My extra at the end of the show is yesterday I was talking about paternity leave, about Brian Reynolds for the Pirates on paternity leave. Mike, I want retro pay. This is what I've come up with. Everybody else gets back pay. Let me tell you something. If you had a kid and you had to pay child support and it went like 3 years before you did, they retro it all the way back to the 3 years. They make you pay every red cent.
Yeah.
I want retro pay on my I want retro pay for my paternity leave that I missed out for 3 kids throughout my life. Again, for the women that are getting child support, they'll go back years and dig up every penalty or penny for them. Mike, I got not a penny of paternity leave in my life. I feel screwed. I feel slighted.
We're gonna find all your ex-employers and we will go after them.
Yeah. I want retro pay.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
I want reparations. Whatever it is, I want, because again, I'm getting screwed somewhere.
Well, let's get it. Let's get it.
Yinzer Joe says I graduated in '94. Okay, cool. Yeah, man. That we were in that same. This was your team.
Old. You guys are old.
Shut up. I think you're older than me.
I graduated in '99.
I graduated in 2010.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, that was my squad too. Yinzer Joe.
Yep. My team.
I grew up and learned a lot about football with that team, man. What else we got here? You do want to tune in Sunday again. The NBA Finals will be wrapping it up with Game 7. That is going to be 8:00 on Sunday between the Pacers and the Thunder at OKC. Again, Mike, our soccer team's at the Hounds hosting the Tampa Bay Rowdies at Highmark Stadium, and the Riveters off to Buffalo. Those games are tomorrow evening. Pittsburgh Passion off this week as they prepare for the first round of the playoffs next week against Mile High City. We'll talk more about them next week as we start to get a little closer to that playoff game. And finally, Mike, the Pittsburgh Pirates again have the Texas Rangers in town. They are home for 3 games and then back on the road next week against Milwaukee. They got the Rangers. So that's always fun if you like to get down to the stadium and see American League teams play. We do have the Texas Rangers in town. But besides for that, Mike, that's a lot of what I have. Let me catch Corey Beavers real quick here. He says, I want retro pay for every jersey I bought for every player that got traded away. Yeah. Imagine the retro pay they would get in Cleveland with all them. I can't ever get over
all those fucking quarterbacks.
I can't ever get over that list. You see that picture with that jersey. It's amazing. It truly is. Vegas, I will go back to Vegas. Vegas says people watch too many movies. Mike, what do you think before we do start getting ready to wrap things up for today, man?
No, I got nothing. I just had that little fun fact about where Deion Sanders ranks all time on interception list.
All right, there you go, guys. We'll be back on Monday to do it all over again. I do want to say thank you to everybody for coming and hanging out today, checking us out. We certainly appreciate each and every one of you. As always, we truly, honestly do. We wouldn't do it without you. Thank you so much. I want to say thank you to everybody on the board. You guys always keep things interesting here on the show. Love having the board, Mike. One of my favorite things in the whole wide world is the board on our show.
Yes.
I also do want to say thank you to everybody for tuning in, watching, maybe listening in the car, at your job, in the gym, wherever you may be. Thank you as well. We'll be back again on Monday to go over all this stuff and a lot more as we continue to scrape and get ready for Steelers, Mike. Again, just a little over a month, 1 month and 3 days till the Steelers start showing up in Latrobe, the kickoff training camp. And then it's a go after that, Mike. We're just a little over a month away from the NFL preseason kicking off in its entirety. So, guys, it won't be long now. This is go time. We're going to start amping up and get ready for the season. I can't wait to do it with everybody here on our board. And it just, Mike, it's really exciting. The time is here. The time is now. Yinzer Joe says I have CT from watching those 80 Steeler games. Can I be compensated? I like the way Yinzer Joe thinks.
Oh,
me and this guy, we're going to get some reparations somewhere. I know this.
But when we were amped up for Merle Hodge.
Hey. You know what? Merrill Hodge was the one that wasn't fumbling, though. Merrill Hodge wasn't fumbling. Tim Worley was fumbling the ball. So
that's true.
I was kind of pumped up when Merrill Hodge was in.
He was all right.
Yeah, I don't know. What do you remember about Merrill Hodge? You graduated in '99.
I just remember him being back there and gaining a couple yards.
You'd have been shitting yourself when he played. What are you talking about?
No, I remember Merle Hodge playing. Louis Lips. Louis Lips was it's still one of my favorite Steeler players of all time.
Let's think. Merrill Hodge was late 80s. You graduated late 90s. That would have made you about 7 years old. I ain't taking your word on Merrill Hodge, believe me. But that's it, everybody. I think that's it for me, Mike. Anything else?
That's all I got.
I do want to say, if you hadn't had a chance yet, hit the like, hit the subscribe, share button. That helps us out a lot. Also, if you get the chance, go check out our social media. We are on Facebook, X, Instagram, Threads, anywhere that you could look. You will find the Two Dumb Yinzers. Check us out. Hit the like button when you're there. Also, Mike, there's no Three Gooners show tonight. The guys are off tonight, so you're gonna have to wait till next week to check out Finch and the boys on Friday for the new episode of the Three Gooners. But I do believe that be me. I do want to say thank you one more time to everybody. You guys are great. Mike, speak now or forever hold your peace.
Oh, I'm good. Oh, God. Have a good weekend, everyone. I can't wait to see you all on Monday.
All right. Yeah, Worley. And if you do go back, I don't know if you caught it, Yinzer Joe, we do have a interview with Worley from draft time last year.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember what particular number episode it was, but if you go back right around draft time in our shows, you could find an interview with Tim Worley. He was a great interview.
It was a damn good interview. Yeah,
dropped the ball a little bit too much for me back when I was a kid, but you know what? I do like Tim a lot.
Yeah.
He was great. Maybe we'll have back on sometime. Like he seemed very interested in doing so.
Oh, yeah. And very open and honest about everything that happened during his career, what happened. And it all
the good, the bad, the ugly.
Yeah. It was all unprompted, too. We weren't going to really discuss it. And he did. It was an open book. Go check it out. Search it's just like on our channel, search Tim Worley. It should pop right up.
Yeah. So there you go. Mike, if that's it for you.
That's all I got, brother.
All right. Thank you so much, everybody. I want everybody to make sure everybody has a great weekend. Stay safe. It's going to get hot. It's going to get real hot. So keep cool. Stay safe. I hope we see everybody back on Monday morning. We'll be back at our regular time to go over all this stuff and much, much more. Have a great weekend. Stay safe. For Mike in the Steeler Central Mobile Studio, for his little man, for myself, the Two Dumb Yinzers, everybody have a great. And for people that's just listening, I'm not talking about Mike's groin. His little man is literally in the.
my son's back here.
He's in the background. So if somebody's just listening to the show, I'm not talking about Mike's little man. But thank you so much. Have a great weekend. Stay safe, everybody. And I will see you on Monday morning.